Another beautiful day on the Back to Beta server. Don't pay any attention to where I'm coming from, but where I'm going. Air is we. I made a shop. It is not the best of shops. So I sell air. That's what I sell. I sell air for 1 diamond for 2 stacks of air. Yeah. And in here we have like a little seating lounge where you can sit down and pretty much breathe in the best air possible. We have like air filtration and whatnot. You see all the leaves and stuff. We like filter the air with the snow and the leaves and make it all nice in here. Also even sell some hot air cartridges. So we have, you know, we have something to sell in here. Right, we can make hot air for you. There's a little bit in this one, and I think over here I like to call these my air. I don't want to call them air filters because that's what these guys were going to be, but I feel kind of weird just putting saplings in here, even though it's a joke, right? I don't expect anybody to buy any of this stuff, but it is kind of funny. Maybe these could be air filter cleaners because that's what they kind of look like, right? They kind of look like the little cleaners for your air filters. And then down here we could put the actual different types of air filters. I want a lot more of these though, because they are, when you put them in here, it makes it look kind of empty, right? And it is definitely supposed to be a joke. Like I said, I don't expect anybody to turn around and buy, you know, saplings. These are like the easiest thing to get in beta, but I do think it is pretty funny to put in here. So we have this nice little shop, and I try to decorate as best I could for like a little shop ordeal, right? We have our computer. It kind of looks like a computer. It even says it's a PC, bleep bloop IPC. And then, yeah, I think it looks pretty neat. We did our carpet design using the crafting tables. They kind of look like little decorative patterns everywhere on the carpet. Did a little bit of like a green and yellow theme in here. Now for the outside of the shop, it kind of reminds me of like one of those stores you kind of see passing down the road, right? You kind of really don't pay them any attention when you're driving by them, right? There's just so many of them. And that's what I was going for here, right? So you're just driving down the road, you really don't see it, you don't pay it any attention. You may never stop in there like a day in your life, right? There's plenty of those. But yeah, that's what we were going for. Just something like super basic, and it's just kind of like a visual thing. It's kind of like a thing to fill up some space. I seen a blank empty space and I wanted to build something at spawn, and that's what I came up with, a space filler. Now, in the last episode, we left off building this awesome looking church here. There has been a couple of things that's been built at the castle, but those couple of things have not been built by me. And the first things first, it's a pixel art of my skin, which is absolutely amazing. I love this. I'm holding like the little gradient up in the air, which is really cool. And this was built by the boy Ryan. He's going around building pixel arts of everybody, and I just think this is really cool. It also had me looking at my wall back here, right? Because I'm rarely on this side of the castle. I'm always on the other side. And I see that I really need to decorate this side, especially if you're coming from Friendship Bridge. I feel bad for poor Mayan. He looks over here and sees a lot of blank wall, so we'll have to come onto this side, do some decorative work. I might do that in today's episode, like definitely get some stuff going on this front side. But yes, this is amazing, and as you can see, it looks exactly like me, down to the little button, my belt, and my dark brown boots. All of it looks as close as he could get it with the colors. I know my shirt is a weird non-Minecraft color, but I like it. I think it looks really good. Next, we did add a few more people who wanted to build here, a few more of my server mates, my friends who wanted to try their hand at building, and we got Gory's amazing house. I really love this house. This is really cool. I could see it from my little windows when I'm in my storage hall, and he went ahead and built his up, and this house is gorgeous. I love this house. I love the way the roof is. Apparently the roof is based off of some kind of black hole thing that he built. And I just think that is really cool. I like all the colors up there, the obsidian. I like how he added like some red trim that kind of goes with the red roofing everywhere else too. And it's like, it's in theme with the whites and grays, which is really nice. I think it is empty on the inside, right? He's got like flooring and it's all lit up and everything. I haven't been too far into it. Oh, this little window. Yeah, see, this place is cool. I like this place. Like I said, it's empty, but that's fine. Like I didn't tell them to like decorate or anything, right? I just wanted to see what kind of house they would come up with. And I don't think I could get up into that one all too well. There we go. I got up here and we have another really cool window. I might even come in here and add an interior myself just to see what I can do in the space. If Gory is okay with that. I'm not 100% sure if he's done with this or not. I know he's done with the outside. I don't know if he was like saving the inside. I hope I didn't spoil anything there. But if he doesn't do anything with the inside and he's cool with it, I will decorate the inside. But I really, really like that house. Do you see that bridge over there? All right, to me, that bridge does not look like it's 21 blocks tall. Or at least at first glance it didn't. Now that I'm looking at it all zoomed in and everything, you know, spruce trees are kind of tall, right? I probably should have seen the warning signs before I started this thing. But yeah, I wanted to connect an ice bridge to it. And I think that right there comes from the train station that's being built at spawn. And it's supposed to go to the mob farm that's been built over there. So what I wanted to do was connect myself up to it. Maybe there's like some kind of way we can have like a intersection or something where you could stop, or maybe there's like some kind of redstone mechanic or whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I thought it'd be a really cool idea, since most of this is over the snow biome, that I would build a bridge made of ice. This was back when I thought the bridge wasn't that tall, but come to find out it's 21 blocks tall. So this is what 21 blocks look like. And these type of things do take a while in beta, because we do not have a silk touch, right? We do not have any kind of enchantments whatsoever. So all of this has to be done with either taking a piston and moving the ice up, which is not a good idea in my case, or using buckets of water. So I went with the buckets of water method, right? So you would have to place like these little bits of dirt going all the way up and just like slowly fill one block at a time. And then if you want arches in the bridge like this, you have to kind of do things a little weird with the dirt just to get it going. And I think it's going to turn out right, but this is going to be like one of those projects that do take a while. I'm kind of already mentally exhausted from doing this ice bridge, and this is only halfway, it looks like. I haven't counted the blocks from here to that little wooden bridge thing yet, but I think I'm about halfway from my stopping point right there. So we'll eventually get it up and I'll share it, I'll show it off and we'll share it. I don't know what the top part's going to look like yet, because I learned on beta you can't place ladders on ice, so part of this is snow, and I have a sneaky suspicion that you won't be able to place rails on ice either. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't think I can make the whole platform out of ice. I think there's gonna have to be a couple of strips of snow in it. If I could place rails on snow, I think I could place rails on snow. It let me place ladders on it, so we'll have to see when we get to it. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit of a longer project that we'll check in, we'll check on it from time to time. Now, when it comes to the castle, there is a lot of fake windows, like especially right here in the bridge. And, some of the windows in the castle where, it looks nice to have the window on the outside, but on the inside, it really didn't make any sense with the room. Kind of like in these towers, right? Those towers are only 3x3s. So leaving what you could see on the inside be kind of weird. And I think that's what we're gonna have to go for in these walls, right? Because these walls are not very thick. They look thick, but they're not very thick. So if we go to add any kind of windows into these walls, we're gonna have to make them like fake windows, which is, which is fine. This castle is based off of fantasy castle. It's not based off of any kind of real castle. Kind of like a Disneyland, or something of that nature type of castle, right? Something you would see in an MMO, or some weird ass game. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna place probably some fake windows. I'm thinking about maybe every other panel. I don't think I want to do one for every panel. That would look kind of weird. So we'll probably put one, like if we start with this one, we'll just skip and then window and then skip and then window. And then I think this right here is the cactus tower. So we're gonna have to be careful with where we put the windows, because we don't want to end up busting into the water stream. Okay, so luckily inside the walls is pretty hollow, right? So we can do some cool stuff in here. Mr. Chicken, can you not be right there? So we do have some pretty hollow walls going on, so I can attempt to do some fake stuff in here, so I don't have to use like black wool. I might have to come back later and think of something that I could do in here, but this is really narrow. I could put like bookcases here or something, and it could look like there's like a little library in there. But for now, we are going to add some black wool, just as like the lights are out type of ordeal. And then we'll put glass over it. So when you're looking at it from a distance, it looks like a window, but it looks like the lights are out. And if I could think of anything in the future to fit in that narrow of a spot, we'll give it a go. Now we have these little designs above each of the windows on the church. You can kind of see right there where it's staircase, trap doors, and fences. I kind of like the way that looks. So over these windows on the walls, to add a little bit more detail, I think we're going to do that above each one of the windows. And that could bring just like a little bit more life into them, right? And we should be able to get these up, and then we still have to place something under the fence in this version. So you see me placing dirt or any kind of soul sand or stuff like that. It's so I could place the fences, and then we could break them and the fences will stay. If you do not do that, you won't be able to place them. There are certain instances where you can use them, but even on this server, I don't think they work, if I'm correct. I could be wrong on that, but I don't even think it works on this server. So we have to do our best, and it's not that bad. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, right? Unless you just want to stack these fences like super high up in the air, then I could see it getting kind of annoying. But for the most part, that's not even bad to do. Speaking of stacking fences up, I think on the walls that we do have blank spots on, like no windows, in the middle of them, if they have like a 3 middle like this, I want to break it up just a little bit by doing something like this right here. Right, kind of like a weird support coming down for each one, and that will kind of break up the textures from a distance. It's going to look kind of weird up close, or at least at first it will, but from where Mayan's looking and where you're seeing from the Friendship Bridge, it should look pretty cool. We could also probably give it like a little T handle shape, right? So if we place a bit of soul sand right in here and right in here, we should be able to jump up and click those and take these out, and that will give it just a little bit of more detail. It's like some kind of fancy support, or at least that's what I'm pretending it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be a fancy support. There we go. Now that we got all these little supports up, we can actually think about ways of getting rid of some of these torches and decorating up the land a little bit. So I do have some glowstone on me. I have sandstone, I have green wool, and I have leaves, and we have wood. So I do a little bit of this when I do my landscaping, and I get this from my single player world that I have, where I've kind of used the soul sand as mud and I've used the green wool as a bit of moss to kind of break up the grass texture a little bit. And then we use leaves to kind of hide the glowstone in certain areas, you know, give it some foliage and some light at the same time. So we're gonna bring that alongside of the wall. And to me, there's no really big pattern to it when it comes to like random bits of land like this. But when it does come to pathways, I like to do them on the edges of pathways like this, right? Sometimes you wear out certain areas of the pathway a little bit more, so it might be muddy, right? And then you'll probably have some moss and stuff growing along the pathways as well. Doesn't quite work with sandstone. Unfortunately, this still needs to be replaced. I just got to figure out what I want to replace it with. But when it comes to random bits of land like this right here, it's just kind of dotted around. And I think I did a little bit of that dotting around in here too. So it kind of just breaks up everything, so it's not one solid looking texture all the way through. And that's what we're going to do on the front side of the wall. We probably use a little light in the back of this corner over here. Probably a light right in here. We could do one in this back corner as well. Maybe one in that one. Probably a light like right here. And we'll save that side of the wall for a little bit later. We're just going to do this one side for now. And there we go. We got some of the bushes and lighting placed in, kind of decorating up the wall a little bit. Like I said, we're trying to really break up the textures a little bit more and give it a tad bit more design. And I realized, thanks to my roof right here, there's actually a threshold to the sound, right? So right here we don't hear the rain sound, but if we walk just a little bit forward, even though we're not getting rained on, we could still hear it about right here. That is crazy. Now for some of the soul sand, we're just going to place them around the bushes, kind of like the bushes have messed up the grass a little bit over time. We might even put some moss right here, kind of like moss is growing up this hill a little bit. Possibly do something like that right there. So it's just got like a really mossy corner, breaks up the dirt texture and everything. Place a couple of more of these soul sands here and here, a little bit right in there. We could do one under that fence. I'll get to that. Maybe we'll put like a moss one under the fence. Not too sure. We could definitely put a moss one here and right here. That will get rid of that weird border that we have going on, trying to make our beach a little more sand-like, where it gradually slopes up. That was a pretty fun project to do. So we're gonna put more soul sand here, probably a little bit more here. And this is just kind of how it ends up being all patchy and everything. I know this seems kind of weird, but I feel like this is kind of fun to do on camera. I could be wrong. You guys can let me know. But yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff right here, where we take it pretty slow. I kind of explain like my thought process on how to get some of this stuff done and how I get it to look the way it looks. Which it may not be for everybody. I know there was like a handful of people that didn't like it. But that's fine, you know, everybody has their preferences and stuff. I really don't care. People like what they like. I'm not out here to like force somebody to like something. Luckily, this is my own little corner of like back to beta, and this is the kind of stuff that I like to do with my builds and making everything look kind of cool in my own opinion. But yeah, this stuff right here, I think it looks really nice. I do got to get some bone meal. That would be like the next part, right? So what we have over there, we have like a bit of grass grown up. I will grow the grass up and like bust all the flowers out of it, right? I like to save flowers for gardens and whatnot, like stuff that's like purposely took care of. This kind of stuff right here, it's just going to get some of the grass just to kind of fill it in. I do think this does need a few more patches of moss to kind of continue breaking things up. Maybe we do a moss bit like right here too. Just make it real patchy looking, right? This is outside the walls. We don't take care of this stuff. It grows up a bit. This is gonna look all weird and stuff. All of our gardeners are on the inside, keeping it nice and clean, even though the inside pretty much looks the same. So I guess I fired my gardeners. I don't know. I'm not allowed to have them. This is a Disney castle. So yeah, there we go. All right, so now we're back with a little bit of bone meal. We can do stuff like this. That was unfortunately like a waste of bone meal, but it does happen when you do things like this. You're gonna end up with one grass block. Let's see, no flowers in that one. Got a couple of bits right there, a couple of more. Again, where you have like the singular block. There's a flower. We'll just get rid of that. Some more grass. And we just, bone meal it, bring it along all the way up the wall to our stopping point right here, because we'll take care of this. I do not have a window design for these towers yet, the really big fat towers that mainly hold on the farms. I could give them the same windows as the Friendship Tower windows, that way they kind of match. That could be pretty neat. Or I could just like stick with this type of theme throughout it. I'm not 100% sure yet, so we might have to like skip the tower and then move on to the rest of the wall until I figure out what kind of windows and stuff I want to do with it. There we go. We get a little bit of Mayan's view, and I think that looks a lot better. So we have something to compare it to. We have this blank side of the wall here that doesn't have anything on it, and then we have this side of the wall where it has a bit more of the detailing and bushes and whatnot, kind of filling it in. I think it's a pretty big difference. I think it looks a lot better over on this side, and we need to just go ahead and do things over here. Now this is the sugarcane farm. I do have the windows planned out for this guy. They're pretty much like little slits like this, but they have window shutters, so that will be an easy one to do, and we could go ahead and knock that one out. I do not have anything planned for these tower windows though. I really need to get on top of that and kind of figure out what I want the windows to look like. I'm pretty sure they're going to look similar to this, but a little bit longer. So you have these where they're like 2 blocks long. On these bigger towers, they might be about 3 to 4 blocks long. We'll have to see when we get up there. And there we go. We touched up this wall a little bit. We gave it its windows, its little bit of support. You can now see the sugarcane growing into that building. I might add like some kind of little flower planter right there. I'm not entirely too sure. It looks like there's too much wall here that needs to be fixed. The ground either needs to come up some, or something needs to break up that wall right there. But other than that, everything looks really cool. I'm liking the way this is slowly coming together. There is one more thing I want to add out here. It was technically 2 things. I think a tree somewhere right in here, and a tree like right in here could be pretty cool. Now the trees that I'm going to build here, they are pretty simple. They're not too hard to build. We'll kind of, I'll do my best to build one on camera, but it's, I think, about 7 blocks tall. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we'll do 2 leaf blocks, and I need something to kind of step over to the edge over here, so we'll place like a soul sand down or something, and then we'll do 2 little fence posts like that, and that will give us the very tip of our tree and knock out 3 hearts in the process. Now on this bit, you just pick 2 sides. Now they're gonna have to be opposite of each other, so if we pick this side, we're to also use this side. And what we're going to do is jump up there and try to hit the very top oak block like we just did. Same goes for over here. And now with the 2 opposite sides that we just chose, we're going to go down 1 block and then put our 2 leaf blocks. Kind of like leaving that little wood exposed up there. Now if we go back to our other sides that we did first, we'll leave like a little air block, 2 leaf blocks. And you just kind of copy that on the way down until you run out of room. They typically turn out looking like that, and we just add little fence posts in them. I kind of add them in there. They look like little branches, is what they're supposed to be. I know they, you know, they don't have anything connected to the tree themselves, but from a distance they kind of look like little branches just barely hanging onto what leaves the tree has. And those are like my baby oak trees that I place everywhere. I'm gonna do probably just one more. Like I said, 2 trees would probably do this justice. You can do these where it's 7 logs and 9 logs, I think look the best. So anywhere from like 7 to 9. And since they were both on the same Y level, I just went ahead and put a 9 block tall one right there to kind of break up their height. Make sure they wasn't on the same height or anything. Add a little bit of variety. And those look really cool. Those add like a lot to the front. I don't know if I really have the grass to put one right here. Which is totally fine, because what we have here is a big statue of myself. So we don't really need a tree. which I think is great. This is really cool, and it really, like I said, it inspired me to actually come back here and do something, because I forgot how blank the backside of my walls were until I came to look at what Ryan was building. So this really helped me out a lot. I was like, oh shit, I really need to do something back here. So this has turned out pretty good. I like this. That's all I have time for in today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. I wanted to go back to a bit of a slower episode because I know the last 2 videos that I put out were a bit fast in nature, and I do like to slow things down and take time with my builds and everything. I don't like doing the whole speeding up thing. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.